Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. The Museum of Modern Art loomed ahead, its sleek architecture a stark contrast to the classic brownstones lining the adjacent streets. She smoothed down her white button-up shirt and adjusted the strap of her messenger bag, heart pounding with anticipation. Inside, the lobby hummed with activity. Tourists snapped photos, art enthusiasts debated in hushed tones, and harried staff members darted to and fro. At the reception desk, she cleared her throat. "Hi, I'm here for the internship program. My name is Dorian." The receptionist glanced up, a practiced smile on her face. "Of course. Let me call someone to escort you." Minutes later, Dorian found herself trailing behind a lanky man with salt and pepper hair and thick-rimmed glasses. He introduced himself as Dr. Reeves, the curator of contemporary art.
"We're excited to have you on board, Dorian,"
he said, leading her through a maze of corridors.
"Your application was quite impressive. I particularly enjoyed your essay on the intersection of digital media and traditional art forms."
Dorian felt a flush of pride.
"Thank you, sir. I'm looking forward to learning from everyone here."
They arrived at a small office crammed with filing cabinets and art books. A desk with an ancient-looking computer occupied one corner.
"This will be your workspace,"
Dr. Reeves explained.
"I know it's not much, but most of your time will be spent in the galleries or assisting with research projects."
Dorian nodded, already envisioning how she could personalize the space. The first few weeks flew by in a whirlwind of orientations, training sessions, and getting acquainted with the museum's vast collection. Dorian threw herself into the work, relishing every moment. But beneath the surface, an undercurrent of tension thrummed through her veins. Late one night, alone in her tiny rented room, Dorian stood before the full-length mirror. With trembling hands, she reached for the hem of her oversized sweatshirt and pulled it over her head. The reflection that stared back at her felt alien, disconnected. She ran her fingers through her short, dark hair, imagining it long and flowing. Her gaze traveled down to her flat chest, narrow hips, and angular jawline. A lump formed in her throat. "This isn't me," she whispered, voice cracking. The next day, Dorian found herself in a nondescript office building, sitting across from a kind-faced woman with graying hair. Dr. Marissa Chen, the nameplate on her desk read. "So, Dorian," Dr. Chen began, her voice warm and encouraging. "Why don't you tell me what brought you here today?" Dorian's fingers twisted in her lap. I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. I've always felt different, like I was born in the wrong body. I think I might be transgender." Dr. Chen nodded, her expression free of judgment. "Thank you for sharing that with me, Dorian. It takes a lot of courage to confront these feelings. Can you tell me more about when you first started to realize this?" And so began a journey of self-discovery and transformation. Weekly sessions with Dr. Chen helped Dorian unpack years of confusion and repressed emotions. Slowly, she began to embrace her true identity. One evening, after a particularly intense therapy session, Dorian made a decision. She pulled out her laptop and with shaking fingers typed "Hormone Replacement Therapy NYC" into the search bar. Weeks later, clutching a small paper bag from the pharmacy, Dorian, now going by Emberlyn in her personal life, stared at herself in the mirror once more. This time, a glimmer of hope shone in her eyes. "Here goes nothing," she murmured, swallowing the first pill. The changes were subtle at first. A softening of the skin here, a slight swelling of breast tissue there. But as the months wore on, Emberlyn watched in awe as her body slowly began to align with her true self. At the museum, she kept her transition under wraps, not yet ready to face potential judgment or discrimination. But the newfound confidence that came with living authentically began to seep into her work. "Excellent analysis of the Rothko piece, Dorian," Dr. Reeves commented one afternoon, reviewing her latest research paper. "Your insights are becoming more nuanced. Keep up the good work." Emberlyn beamed, chest swelling with pride. "Thank you, sir. I've been doing a lot of additional reading on color theory and its emotional impact." As her body changed, so too did Emberlyn's wardrobe. Gone were the baggy jeans and shapeless shirts. In their place, she experimented with flowing skirts, form-fitting blouses, and delicate jewelry. Each new outfit felt like a step closer to her true self. One rainy evening, while browsing a second-hand clothing store, Emberlyn stumbled upon a hidden gem, a vintage cocktail dress in a deep emerald green. The silk fabric whispered against her skin as she slipped it on in the cramped dressing room. Staring at her reflection, Emberlyn's breath caught in her throat. For the first time, she saw herself. Truly saw herself. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. "Miss, everything okay in there?" the shopkeeper called. Emberlyn cleared her throat. "Yes, everything's perfect. I'll take it." As her confidence grew, Emberlyn yearned for a space where she could fully express herself. A chance encounter at a local LGBTQ support group led her to an unexpected opportunity. "You should check out the Spotlight," a fellow group member suggested. "It's this amazing restaurant where a lot of us work. They're super supportive of the community." Intrigued, Emberlyn decided to apply for a part-time position. The interview was unlike any she'd experienced before. "Honey, we don't care about your resume," the flamboyant manager, Marco, declared with a wave of his bejeweled hand. "What we care about is your spirit. Are you ready to shine?" Emberlyn nodded eagerly. "More than ready." And so she found herself waitressing at the Spotlight 3 nights a week. The restaurant was a riot of color and music, with drag shows and karaoke nights drawing diverse crowds. For the first time in her life, Emberlyn felt truly accepted. Her co-workers became a second family, offering advice on makeup techniques, fashion tips, and navigating the complexities of transition. Emberlyn soaked it all in, reveling in the freedom to be herself without fear of judgment. One night, as she twirled in her emerald dress before her shift, her co-worker Jasmine let out a low whistle. "Girl, you are serving looks tonight. Those hormones are working overtime." Emberlyn laughed, a sound of pure joy. "Thanks, Jazz. I feel amazing." As her body continued to change, so too did Emberlyn's perspective on art. She found herself drawn to works that explored themes of identity, transformation, and the fluidity of gender. Her research papers at the museum began to reflect this newfound passion. Dr. Reeves noticed the shift. "Dorian, your latest piece on Frida Kahlo's self-portraits is fascinating. I particularly enjoyed your analysis of how she used art to explore her own complex identity. Have you considered pursuing this line of inquiry further?" Emberlyn's heart raced. "Actually, sir, I've been thinking about applying to doctoral programs. I'd love to delve deeper into the intersection of art history and gender studies." Dr. Reeves nodded approvingly. "I think that's an excellent idea. With your talent and unique perspective, you could make significant contributions to the field. Let me know if you need any letters of recommendation." Emberlyn left his office feeling lightheaded with excitement. A PhD. It seemed like an impossible dream, yet suddenly within reach. That night, she pored over program brochures and application requirements. One particular program at NYU caught her eye, a joint PhD in art history and gender studies. It was highly competitive, but the thought of staying in New York and continuing her journey of self-discovery was too tempting to resist. As she worked on her application, Emberlyn realized she needed to make a decision. If she was accepted, she would need to live full-time as her true self. The thought was both thrilling and terrifying. With trembling hands, she composed an email to Dr. Reeves requesting a meeting to discuss her future at the museum. The response came quickly, agreeing to meet the following afternoon. Emberlyn spent hours agonizing over her outfit, finally settling on a modest knee-length skirt and a soft blue blouse that brought out the green in her eyes. She applied her makeup with painstaking care, wanting to present the most polished version of herself. As she entered Dr. Reeves' office, her heart pounded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. "Dorian, come in," he said warmly.
"What did you want to discuss?" Emberlyn took a deep breath. Sir, I have something important to tell you. I'm transgender. I've been transitioning for the past several months, and I go by Emberlyn now in my personal life. Dr. Reeves' eyebrows rose slightly, but his expression remained kind. I see. Thank you for sharing that with me, Emberlyn. I imagine that wasn't easy. She shook her head, fighting back tears. No, it wasn't. But I'm applying to doctoral programs, and if I'm accepted, I want to live authentically in all aspects of my life. I hope this won't affect my position here at the museum. Dr. Reeves leaned forward, his gaze serious. Emberlyn, your work here has been exemplary. Your gender identity doesn't change that fact. We value diversity and inclusion at this institution, and I want you to feel comfortable being your true self here. Relief washed over Emberlyn like a tidal wave. Thank you, sir. That means more than you know. In the weeks that followed, Emberlyn navigated the complexities of coming out at work. While most of her colleagues were supportive, she did encounter some awkward moments and confused stares. But with each passing day, she grew more confident in her skin. As she waited to hear back from doctoral programs, Emberlyn threw herself into her work at the museum and the spotlight. Her dual life provided a rich tapestry of experiences that informed her art historical research. One evening, while setting up for a new exhibition, Emberlyn found herself working alongside a new intern named Zoe. The two quickly bonded over their shared love of contemporary art and fashion. I love your earrings, Zoe commented, gesturing to the delicate silver hoops Emberlyn wore. They really complement your bone structure. Emberlyn felt a flutter in her stomach at the compliment. Thanks, I just got them last week. I'm still figuring out my style. Zoe grinned. Well, you're nailing it. Hey, a bunch of us are going out for drinks after this. Want to join? That night marked the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Zoe became Emberlyn's confidant, offering support and encouragement as she navigated the final stages of her transition. As winter melted into spring, Emberlyn received life-changing news. She had been accepted into NYU's prestigious doctoral program. Tears of joy streamed down her face as she read the acceptance letter. I did it, she whispered, clutching the paper to her chest. I really did it. The next few months were a whirlwind of preparations. Emberlyn searched for a new apartment closer to campus, completed her final projects at the museum, and said tearful goodbyes to her friends at the spotlight. On her last night at the restaurant, Marco presented her with a gift, a stunning pair of red stilettos. For when you need to strut your stuff in the halls of academia, he said with a wink. As Emberlyn packed up her tiny room, she came across the emerald dress that had marked such a pivotal moment in her journey. She held it up, marveling at how far she had come. The night before her doctoral program began, Emberlyn stood before her mirror once more. The person staring back at her was a far cry from the confused, conflicted individual who had arrived in New York a year ago. Her hair now fell in soft waves past her shoulders. Subtle curves graced her figure, and her face had softened into more feminine contours. But the most significant change was in her eyes. They shone with a confidence and self-assurance that had been absent before. Emberlyn smiled at her reflection, feeling truly at home in her body for the first time in her life. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she was ready to face them as her authentic self. As she drifted off to sleep that night, Emberlyn's mind wandered to the journey ahead. The doctoral program would be demanding, but she was eager to dive into research that combined her passion for art history with her lived experience as a transgender woman. The first day of classes dawned bright and clear. Emberlyn stood in front of her closet, carefully selecting an outfit that would make the right impression. She settled on a tailored blazer in a soft lavender shade, paired with sleek black trousers and the red stilettos Marco had gifted her. As she applied the finishing touches to her makeup, a text message from Zoe lit up her phone. "Knock 'em dead, girl! Can't wait to hear all about it over dinner tonight." Emberlyn smiled, grateful for her friend's unwavering support.
The NYU campus buzzed with the excitement of a new semester. Emberlyn navigated the crowded hallways, her heels clicking confidently against the polished floors. She found her first seminar room and took a deep breath before entering. Inside, a diverse group of students was already seated around a large table. Emberlyn chose a spot near the middle, offering a shy smile to those around her. The professor, a distinguished-looking woman with silver hair, swept into the room. "Welcome, everyone, to Advanced Topics in Gender and Art. I'm Dr. Elaine Winters. Let's begin with introductions, shall we?" As the introductions made their way around the table, Emberlyn's palms grew sweaty. When her turn came, she straightened her shoulders and spoke clearly. "Hello, I'm Emberlyn Reeves. My background is in modern and contemporary art, with a focus on identity and representation. I'm particularly interested in exploring how transgender and non-binary artists use their work as a means of self-expression and challenging societal norms." Dr. Winters nodded approvingly. "Excellent, Emberlyn. I look forward to seeing how you incorporate your unique perspective into our discussions." As the seminar progressed, Emberlyn found herself deeply engaged in the material. She contributed to discussions, drawing connections between the readings and her own experiences. For the first time in an academic setting, she felt truly seen and valued for her whole self. After class, a fellow student approached her. "Hey, Emberlyn, right? I'm Aiden. I was really impressed by your comments on the Casillas piece. Want to grab coffee and chat more?" Emberlyn beamed. "I'd love to." Over the next few weeks, Emberlyn settled into the rhythm of doctoral studies. Long hours in the library were balanced by stimulating seminars and lively debates with her cohort. She found herself forming close bonds with several classmates, particularly Aiden and a vivacious art historian named Rena. One evening, as they huddled over textbooks in a cozy campus cafe, Rena broached a sensitive subject. "So, Emberlyn," she began hesitantly, "I hope you don't mind me asking, but have you always known you were trans, or was it something you discovered later in life?" Emberlyn paused, considering her response. She had become more comfortable discussing her journey, but it still felt vulnerable. "It's a complicated question," she replied slowly. "Looking back, there were always signs. Feeling uncomfortable in my body, envying girls and women, never quite fitting in with male peer groups. But I didn't have the language or understanding to articulate it until much later." Aiden nodded encouragingly. "That must have been really difficult to navigate." Emberlyn smiled gratefully. "It was. But once I finally understood and accepted who I am, everything started to make sense. It's like the world suddenly came into focus." As the conversation flowed, Emberlyn felt a warmth bloom in her chest. Here she was, discussing her transgender identity openly with new friends who accepted her without question. It was a far cry from the isolation she had felt just a year ago. As the semester progressed, Emberlyn found herself facing new challenges. The rigorous academic workload, combined with the ongoing emotional and physical changes of her transition, sometimes left her feeling overwhelmed. One particularly stressful week, as deadlines loomed and hormonal mood swings hit hard, Emberlyn broke down in tears during a meeting with her advisor. Dr. Winters handed her a box of tissues, her expression sympathetic.
"Emberlyn, I know you're under a lot of pressure. Have you considered reaching out to the university's counseling services?" Emberlyn nodded, wiping her eyes. "I've thought about it. I guess I was worried about being judged or misunderstood." "Your mental health is just as important as your academic progress," Dr. Winters said gently. "Taking care of yourself isn't a sign of weakness. It's a necessary part of succeeding in this program and in life." Taking her advisor's advice to heart, Emberlyn began seeing a therapist at the university's counseling center. The sessions provided a safe space to process the complex emotions that came with her transition and academic journey. As winter settled over New York, Emberlyn found herself facing an unexpected challenge. The hormone therapy had altered her body's temperature regulation, leaving her more sensitive to the cold.
She invested in a collection of cozy sweaters and warm leggings, learning to layer effectively for long days on campus. One frosty morning, as she hurried across the quad bundled in a puffy coat and bright purple scarf, she quite literally ran into someone. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Emberlyn exclaimed, steadying herself. She looked up to find herself face to face with a striking woman with close-cropped hair and vibrant green eyes. "No worries," the woman replied with a crooked smile. "I'm Riley. You're in Dr. Winter's seminar, right? I've seen you around the art history department." Emberlyn nodded, suddenly flustered. "Yes, that's right. I'm Emberlyn. Nice to officially meet you, Emberlyn. Hey, I'm heading to the coffee shop to warm up. Care to join me?" As they sipped their lattes and chatted, Emberlyn found herself captivated by Riley's quick wit and passion for abstract expressionism. A warm flutter of attraction stirred in her chest, a feeling both familiar and entirely new in her evolving body. Over the following weeks, Emberlyn and Riley's paths crossed frequently. They began meeting for study sessions and attending gallery openings together. Emberlyn found herself looking forward to these encounters with an intensity that both thrilled and terrified her. One evening, as they walked home from a lecture series, Riley turned to Emberlyn with a serious expression. "Can I ask you something?" she began hesitantly. "And please feel free to tell me if I'm out of line." Emberlyn's heart raced. "Of course. What is it?" Riley took a deep breath. "I really like you, Emberlyn. And I was wondering if you might want to go on a date sometime, but I wasn't sure if you're interested in women or if you're even looking to date right now with everything else going on in your life." Emberlyn's mind whirled. She had been so focused on her transition and studies that she hadn't given much thought to romantic relationships. The idea both excited and terrified her. I'm flattered, Riley," she began slowly. "And I do like you too. But you're right. There is a lot going on in my life right now. Would it be okay if I took some time to think about it?" Riley nodded, her smile warm and understanding. "Of course, take all the time you need. I'll be here." That night, Emberlyn tossed and turned, her mind a jumble of conflicting emotions. She was undeniably attracted to Riley, but the prospect of intimacy in her still-changing body filled her with anxiety. The next day, she called Zoe, desperate for advice. "Oh, honey," Zoe said sympathetically after Emberlyn poured out her concerns. "It's totally normal to feel nervous, but you deserve love and companionship just like anyone else. Don't let fear hold you back from experiencing something beautiful." Emberlyn mulled over Zoe's words, realizing that her friend was right. She had come so far in her journey of self-discovery. Why stop now? The following week, Emberlyn approached Riley after class, her heart pounding. "I've been thinking about what you said," she began, her voice slightly shaky. "And I'd love to go on a date with you." Riley's face lit up with a radiant smile. "Really? That's fantastic. How about dinner this Friday?" As Emberlyn prepared for her date with Riley, she found herself facing a familiar mirror. But this time, instead of scrutinizing her appearance for signs of masculinity, she admired the way her favorite dress hugged her and how her carefully applied makeup enhanced her features. The date was magical. Over candlelit dinner at a cozy Italian restaurant, Emberlyn and Riley talked for hours, discovering shared passions and dreams. As the evening drew to a close, Riley walked Emberlyn to her door. "I had a wonderful time," Riley said softly, her eyes shining. Emberlyn's heart raced as Riley leaned in. Their lips met in a gentle, tentative kiss that sent sparks shooting through her body. As she fell asleep that night, Emberlyn marveled at how far she had come. From a confused and conflicted art student to a confident woman pursuing her dreams and opening her heart to love. The journey had been challenging, but infinitely rewarding. The spring semester flew by in a whirlwind of academic challenges and blossoming romance. Emberlyn threw herself into her doctoral research, exploring the ways in which transgender artists throughout history had used their work as a means of self-expression and societal critique. her relationship with Riley deepened, providing a source of joy and support amidst the rigors of academia. Together, they navigated the complexities of intimacy and vulnerability, with Riley's patience and understanding helping Emberlyn become more comfortable in her evolving body. As the academic year drew to a close, Emberlyn received an unexpected email from Dr. Reeves at the Museum of Modern Art. The museum was planning a groundbreaking exhibition on queer and transgender artists, and they wanted her input as both a scholar and a member of the community. Tears of joy streamed down Emberlyn's face as she read the email. It felt like her personal journey and professional aspirations were finally aligning in a meaningful way. That evening, as she curled up on the couch with Riley, Emberlyn reflected on the incredible years she had experienced. From taking those first tentative steps towards transition to embracing her true self in all aspects of her life, she had undergone a profound transformation. "What are you thinking about?" Riley asked, noticing Emberlyn's contemplative expression. Emberlyn smiled, intertwining her fingers with Riley's. "Just how grateful I am for everything. This program, my friends, a year ago, I never could have imagined my life would look like this." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.